Good evening, friends. A warm welcome to the Foreign Correspondence Club of South Asia. Welcome to Rahul Siddhartha Kish and his Masi, Priya Tandon. Masi. Yeah, Masi. As we have now announced in the on our website and our messages, Rahul is a young teenager of Indo-German, Hungarian, American heritage. Born and raised in Silicon Valley, Rahul founded Global Thought Incorporated, a platform for voices and conversations that must be heard but are not getting adequate attention for two age-old yet contemporary challenges with potential to impact lives of millions. That is, inclusion of diversity and reduction of economic disparity. Rahul is a twice junior Olympian in water polo and a semi-finalist for Siemens Award in Science. He believes one is never too young to learn from history or from those that are striving to make the world a better place. By the way, he is the youngest guest we had, Manshi Chiller, Miss World, who was here a few months ago. Soon after she became Miss World, I think she was in her early 20s. And Rahul is all of 17 plus. In his article on Make America Great Again, which was included in a White House event last year, Rahul suggests an optimal path forward in respecting one's own nation while learning from and respecting other nations too, as exemplified by Dr. Martin Luther King and Dr. Bhim Rao Ambedkar. Global Thought Incorporated is taking its platform global from the United States to India, Europe and the rest of the world, as Rahul sees it as an initiative for intergenerational thoughtful dialogue critical for ensuring that history is not repeated. He wants to bring out stories that are fast disappearing with the passing away of protagonists, preserve valuable stories for his peers and future generations. Neither generation, millennials, preferred mode of communication, texting, nor the angry dialogue of the adults would be able to disrupt the status quo. Rahul's Hungarian heritage led him to reach Dr. George Springer, a Stanford professor and a refugee from the 1956 Hungarian Revolution. Together, they created Budapest to Stanford presentation for Rahul's peers in his school. Rahul reached Congresswoman Terry Sewell as Selma March of Dr. King, inspired by Mahatma Gandhi's Salt March, took place in her district. She too has been very supportive of his quest. Rahul wants to bring greater focus on India's peaceful acceptance of a diverse array of refugees seeking shelter, including Zoroastrians and Jews. The absence of any history of anti-Semitism in India also provides valuable lesson. He interviewed descendants of these communities in Kolkata to extend conversations he began with their American counterparts. As a student of the private Jesuit high school, Bellarmine, with the motto, Men for and with others, Rahul visited the Jesuit community in Kolkata, focusing on their reducing economic gap. Rahul's own family has provided a diverse spectrum of learning. His great-grandfather, Dr. Mithilesh Mehre, dedicated his life to underprivileged by building the Sitapur Eye Hospital in Uttar Pradesh in 1926, which to this day is true to its mission. Rahul's great-grandmother, Magdalena Braun, suffered many tribulations in Europe, but prevailed due to her indomitable spirit. Rahul's mother, Dr. Nandini Tandon, who was honored with the Kawasi Divas honor 3 years ago. He's an entrepreneur and venture capitalist in the Silicon Valley in California, United States. She's committed to next generation healthcare for integrity of social pyramid. Raul's father, Zoltan Kish, is of German-Hungarian ancestry, did research in electrical engineering at Stanford University and is working with smart grids. He is also involved in the International Solar Alliance, in which India is actively involved, which is headquartered in Gurgaon. Rahul flew halfway across the world from the world's tech capital, Silicon Valley, to India to have an old-fashioned, face-to-face, intergenerational conversation. He is very excited that the company he has launched has the potential through meaningful dialogue to impact millions of lives globally. So very happy to have you with us, Rahul. So tell us something about yourself and the company which you have started and what you want to achieve with that.
First of all, thank you very much, sir, for the very most kind and wonderful introduction. I'm truly humbled. I started Global Thought Inc. around 2 years ago, and it comes from the fact that for the longest time I can remember, I've always loved history, reading about history, reading books, articles, you name it. Not for any school or exam, any benefit from that, just I was fascinated, so I wanted to learn more. It was purely for self-knowledge. And after reading for a long time, I gained enough knowledge to have conversations. Just to have conversations. You know, why did a king do this? Why did the president do that? How do societies compare? How do they contrast? Questions like that, just for the fun of it. And I really enjoyed these, and over time, this reinforces reading a lot of history and then discussing it. So I managed to build more knowledge and also became more familiar and comfortable with conversations and discussions. Also along the lines, I became fascinated about 3 years ago with economics, and because it's history, economics, and cultures. I would say, in general, I have a deep passion for the social sciences. So around 2.5 years ago, as I'm maturing, I would think, how can I contribute to society? And the way you contribute to society is looking at your strengths. And my strengths are that I love to read and learn, so there's a lot of knowledge I gain from that. And then having conversations thanks to my knowledge, and I can have deep conversations. And so so the other part is like, what is your strength and your passion? So this is my passion and my strength, but also what is the need in the world? Well, the world is facing, the whole world, and that's very important to understand. To note, the whole world is facing major economic and social and cultural issues. There's a lot of debate, a lot of polarization, and a lot has to be discussed. And sometimes some of the topics may, within this, people in general don't like to always discuss conflicts, or people who like to do it just like to get in shouting matches, not really actually solve the problems. And so I wanted to organize a platform that would have discussions and debates on what policies can be done to solve problems. And the philosophy that I have is that, nations can learn from other nations, their successes and failures on these cultural, political, social, economic issues. So it began with that, but I decided that to support these debates and discussions, and to facilitate that I conducted interviews, because I can read, and reading is very helpful and important, but also meeting people on the ground and interviewing them, people of these communities or meeting experts, and learning from them, asking them questions, and their responses will give a greater up-to-date understanding of the situation on the ground. For example, in Calcutta, I interviewed a Jewish woman and a Pakistan woman, two separate interviews, as I take it, and discussed with both of them on how their community, how their respective communities integrate into society so well. And the reason for that was because I think the world can learn from how India, unlike many other parts of the world, in like especially the Islamic world or the Europe, Western world traditionally, is still anti-Semitism. But so large swaths of the world, but not in India. So why not in India? So we can learn from examples of India. Also, how the Parsi community integrated so well, or the factors that allow for that such peaceful integration of a minority. How can other nations learn from that? And so these interviews provided that. And so these are all to facilitate what learning through successes and failures in nations to help other nations learn and also to support debates and to gather data and knowledge. And so these are all macro level. And by the way, I do want to emphasize that Global Thought Incorporated there's no political agenda. It is not a liberal organization, it's not conservative, not left-wing, not right-wing. The only goal it has, the only agenda it has, is to improve the human condition to better society. And that it is to ask questions, to have debates, and to policy. So it's only there to promote a better society. It's not to promote any agenda. And we welcome all political sides to engage in respectful debate, discussion, interview, to learn, because we're all about learning, so that the more we learn, the more we can solve problems. So all of this is macro issues, on the macro scale, it's very important. But because our goal is to better the human condition, there's also, and we gain a lot of knowledge through research, interviews, and discussions, we can also use this knowledge to empower people at the micro level. So I went to this school in Calcutta, and they have a class for slum children, slum girls. And so they have to leave at age 18. This program with the become adults have to leave. And so they'll have to find employment. Even if they go to university or they're not, whatever, they will, at a certain point in their life, have to enter the job market. And that talk I gave, I discussed a very important aspect of how finding jobs and job recruitment and the workplace, the labor market in the 21st century is very different than the 20th century. And I'll give a quick example. Home country USA, in the 1950s and 1960s, a man who graduated high school doesn't have to do well, just passes high school, will get a job in a local car factory or another position, and he will make equivalent to today $50,000 a year in the middle class, not a middle class job, or just graduate high school. Now you need to go to college for years just to have a chance to have a middle class. So in fact, you have to do more work, more hard work, more investment to just get the same results in this new world, because all the robots are all organizations with the robots. And in the next 50 years, jobs that we consider high skilled, like in research and medical research, they will be taken up too. So it's not just those low skill manufacturing jobs. And so people have to constantly train themselves. Those Gartner article about this. You have to constantly train yourself. You may have a job 10 years, and then you'll have to train yourself for another job. And so the idea of having a career for lifetime may become extinct, may be pastime, may be extinct. So explain that message to them. But it's all about what is unifying with the interviews, the debates, conferences, the talks, the social work. What unites all these is it's all about using knowledge in social sciences, the history, economics, cultural studies, sociology, to better today, and to better the future. And also, we look at it, we have global outreach. We're not just based in one country. It is to better. The idea is to better the whole globe. So that is the mission of Global Thought Incorporated.
Can you tell us something about the visit you made to these girls who are picked up on the streets and they're being educated in Loreto? Is it Rainbow? Yeah. What are your impressions about that bunch of kids you interacted with? What is it that you can possibly do through your company, not incorporated, to help them? Because at the age of 18, they would have finished their education in that school, they need to go to college, they don't have parents, they are helpless, somebody needs to help them. What is it that Think Incorporated can do for them and to take them to the next level, put them in college, arrange for their stay, clothes, hostel, whatever. What are your ideas?
Well, there are some things I noticed about these girls that one, they were very anxious, obviously, because of they're 18. They have, especially because they don't have a solid family unit backing them. They will have facing numerous challenges in entering the workforce and earning themselves a living. So there's quite a bit of anxiety, and sadly, there is a bit of hopelessness. Like I was asking questions, and I asked the questions, and a main one was that, I do all the advice you give me, all the advice you do this is great. I'm sure it'll help me, but in India, so many people, how do I get a job? So even if I do everything right, can I still make it? I will say this, is that that's something you usually will not hear in the United States of America, even amongst people who are not doing too financially well. There's a feeling that, if I do things right, I can make it. There's something I'm doing wrong. I have to this thing. So with that I observe that's a psyche. That's a cultural psyche that some girls in Calcutta face. And so part of it will be, maybe this moral boosting, but more is that emphasizing the importance of being optimistic, for example, increase your chances of fighting through, don't feel hopeless, and so they don't try to see what you can do. And if you can't find employment in Calcutta, find it other places, or if you have to immigrate to another country, do that. But the idea is don't quit. So the first thing is to inform and really stress them, not to say don't quit, but really stress them, give examples, knowledge, when we collect data, studies. Do not quit. So a lot of effort has to be that, because if the psyche is hopeless, then nothing will help. So first you have to do the psyche, and knowledge and collecting knowledge will be great help in that. That's what Global Thought Incorporated can do. Collect knowledge, collect data, synthesize it, and not just have this top-down, bring-down knowledge, but because we are going to the bottom, visiting them, empathizing with them, understanding how do we give them knowledge. So basically specialize it to them. So basically be very efficient, be very accurate, and be very understanding and empathetic of their specific concerns and how to lift their morale. Also, with Global Thought Incorporated, with the goals that have people who are excited about what Global Thought Incorporated is doing. And so, certainly provided with when establishing contacts with people and bright brains, and always with time and effort and passion, and always provide hospitals and these programs for these things. So because Global Thought Incorporated is a company, it's a platform, there is an organization, there's a mindset, there's a dedication, and with time and effort, and with contacts that are eager to support because they see potential in this. That will be the solution. So the solution, through the spirit of the organization, once will be how to raise the morale, and to organize everything. So it is the organization of the company, it is the spirit of the company, drive, effort, time. That will be what will get it done.
Do you have any plan to take up the case of these girls in this school you met with people back in the United States to kind of help them maybe raise some funds, buy them some computers, arrange for their accommodation, help find seats in a college after they pass out of the school. And, are you thinking of a long-term association between Global Thought Incorporated and these kids you met in Kolkata?
On terms of establishing a relationship and using contacts in the United States, absolutely. We have it's a Jesuit, I go to a Jesuit school in the Bay Area, so they would be shared Catholic institutions, the fathers and priests would be more than happy. They already in Latin America, they work with schools in Latin America, so there's a platform for this. On specifics of fundraising, I'm not an expert, so I won't really go into that, but the answer to your question is in terms of raising awareness and having people to talk to, not just wishful think, not just wishing that things look good. Yes, there's definitely people and institutions to contact through school, and so my school will provide, because it's a Catholic school, it is quite easy for the two institutions to work together, and because of that, you can establish that long-term relationship that Global Thought Incorporated is working in terms of bettering these girls' lives.
Well, I do hope that you've been able to instill some confidence in these girls themselves and make them believe that they should not be quitting but fight out and make something out of their life. Any questions? Yeah, please. Use the microphone, please.
Hi, I am Ashish from Kyoto News, Japanese media. And in the introduction, I heard that you are researching on Jewish and Zoroastrian, some you focus on that. So can you please share some more details on that context? What are you focusing on and in that area?
So there's two parts. One is the focus before the interviews, and one is based on the information and the analysis extracted from the interviews. So there's two parts. So before, I'm knowledgeable of the fact that India is quite the exception in terms of being a place completely devoid of anti-Semitism. In fact, the only time to find anti-Semitism on the Indian continent historically is when the Portuguese took over the coastal ports in South India, and so they carried out the Inquisition. But that is not an Indian state. So the examples on the Indian continent are literally a foreign power taking over in India and instituting these policies as they did back home in Portugal or in Spain or wherever. In this example, Portugal. And the Zoroastrian community integrated very well in Gujarat. This small minority was not persecuted, and they never felt they weren't integrated. They were very successfully integrated, even though they belonged to different religion, and where they came from, they were not from the Indian subcontinent, but they were integrated very well without having to completely lose everything of their identity. And that is not the case everywhere. There's a lot of, for example, in Europe, a lot of tensions between ethnic communities in like the Balkans and Eastern Europe, and historically Western Europe. Now it's a lot better in the French and Germans, but just a century ago, it was as bad as the Balkans conflict. So, and thus, India, these two examples in India provide a model. And if we can understand why, because we can just say, oh, they did it successfully here, but why? The question is, why are they successful? Those reasons can provide answers to issues of integration in other parts of the world. So it's really much learning from India's success in these two, the Jewish community and the Parsi community, or other countries, to learn from us the global emphasis of Global Thought Incorporated. And I would perform these interviews and I'd ask questions of why the thought and their communities would integrate well, and then give the answers with drive. I would jot them down, and that would be, oh, this this person's heard the community say this and that, so we understand what their perspective is, and then you interview a couple of people. So there's some variation. So you see where there's a little variation, you see where there's common themes. And so with those common themes, for time and you analyze it, you say, wait a minute, this is some on the ground, this is an on the ground theme of why this community is successfully integrated, why it's not being persecuted for so long. So then the interviews are essentially provide data to be used for research, for debates, for discussions. So that is the process of the interviews.
Rahul, one of the reasons why the minorities are not prosecuted and whoever comes for seeking a refuge in India, India readily grants them, because the majority community is a tolerant community. 80% of the people in this country are Hindus. One of the Indian politicians said India is a secular state because the Hindus are in a majority and they are, a very tolerant community. So when these Russians were kicked out from Iran, the Gujaratis, when they arrived in Surat, they were given shelter, and the Parsis learned the language and they marched, and the Tatars, which is now a $100 billion company, they are Parsis. Even in Pakistan, you have some Parsis. They are among the richest people in the subcontinent. Some of the big hotel chains are run by Parsis and all that. And Parsi community has contributed writers in Parsi. The film was made on the basis of a book in which Amir Khan starred and all that. Now, how are you going to use the example of India where the majority community is tolerant and has given shelter to small minorities which came, and we continued to do that. At the time of 71 war in Pakistan, Bangladesh, we gave shelter to a million people. They came. The Rohingyas, there's a lot of debate going on. When the Tamils were in trouble in Sri Lanka, they also came. There's still 100,000 Tamils living in refugee camps in Tamil Nadu. They're waiting for the situation to settle down so that they can go back to their original homes in the northeast of Sri Lanka. How do you think you're going to use the example of how India treats people who come here for shelter and readily grants them to societies where one community is in a majority, but like Christianity is the religion? And whereas in India, it's not a Hindu country, it's a secular state where all the religions enjoy equal rights and so on. So, don't you think it's a bit of a tricky thing, going to Europe and telling the people out there, giving an Indian example, and there has been a lot of resistance. The German Chancellor faced them to give shelter to these Muslims from Syria and other places. So, what is going on in your mind about how you can use the knowledge of India being a tolerant society and communicating that to other societies where people from other religions are in a majority, and what are your thoughts on that?
So the understanding, first, before again answering the question, is that it is very important, but we analyze information to not just to understand what the cultural roots and to study the cultures and say that, because it's important. So Hindu society, Confucian society, Japanese Shinto society, Shia Islamic society, Persian society, Arabic society, Catholic society, Latin Catholic society in the Americas, which is USA, Canada, more the Anglo-Protestant cultures. Very important to understand as the historical, cultural, socioeconomic understandings. That's very important. But success is success. For example, when the West conquered and ruled the whole world, the institutions of the West were to depend varying degrees in countries, but largely the whole world has embraced them. For example, the trains were not invented in India. They were not invented in the traditional Indian Hindu society or in the Mughal Islamic Persian influenced society. Persia did not. Like the train was invented in the industrialized British products and societies. Industries developed, railroads developed in Europe. And then through colonialism, they imparted on the railroads during the days of the British Raj. So while, and Japan is also an incredible example of a nation with a very different culture than the West, but because when they were forced open by American liberals, Admiral Matthew Perry in the 1850s, they realized, oh my God, the Europeans, the Americans, the West, they, for the first time, we could be invaded. They very quickly and very efficiently, in 70 years, achieved what in the West took 300 years worth of technological advancement. And so, and they did that without becoming Western. They very much their own culture that it's hard for people in the West to understand them culturally, and 100% of the experts, yes, but it's not like, oh, it's like England and Sweden. It's not, English, Swedes, Italians, Greeks, while different, they share Western culture, and they are like Japan, but Japan was modernized and industrialized and a democracy. So human beings and societies want to succeed, so there has been a historical precedent of adopting, and I'm trying to learn from other cultures what they did right to succeed. And India, with its ability, India has many issues, largely economic disparity and modernization, providing proper education for the tribals, Adivasis, so on and so on. But the study India has a huge advantage. It's that even with so many different languages, so many different religions, people get along. You don't see this. In Europe, most of them are divided up by languages. I mean, Switzerland's a very small example, is a total exception. But for example, the Swiss will not integrate anyone outside. It's like fine, we are the Swiss Italians, Swiss Germans, and Swiss French, but we were historically cantons together. But it's not like they're gonna. But that's an exception, and most of Europe they fought for. It's like I speak Polish, so I'm a Polish nation, and even when they speak the same language in Yugoslavia, the Bosnians, the Croatians and Serbians, they all three spoke the same language. One was Catholic, one was Orthodox, one was Muslim. They fought. So, I mean, the Arab world, Iraq, Sunni, Shia, Kurds, they're all three fighting on ethnic and religious division. So the Indian model of having a plethora of religions and language linguistic diversity, and such unity, not just they're together because India is strong, but the people are proud and are happy, they wouldn't want to leave. And so when India does grow and does develop, then really it's like their problems are just that India needs to develop, and once India develops, and the people are already together, united. And so India will be in a better position because they already have social unity and will be developed and advanced than so much of the world. And so I think with India, many countries facing a problem, it's really harming them that they have all these social divisions. I mean, Iraq is totally broken apart with these divisions. So certainly the Iraqis, we want to see how could we work together to have a more successful region. And even in the United States of America, there's racial tensions, and people of all groups in America want America to succeed and want a better future for their kids. How do we become better, reduce tensions and work together? And so just like India adopted so much of through of course they were forced down by bayonet, but even after independence, India didn't say that now we are free, we're going to give up Western style education, Western style railroads, Western style of trade. They even though they kind of focused on capitalism at the beginning, it was still actually the Soviet European socialism, so definitely bringing European ideals because they thought that would be the best. So can other countries say that, you know what, India is not, they're not fighting, breaking apart. These are diverse populations, but they're working together. So I think success, so not to boil the ocean, India's success will make other nations producing a feeling saying, what are the Indians doing right? What is this country doing right that all of us are failing at? And we've seen historical precedents of the same thing of one country, a nation of one country adopting so much from other countries. And so I think while I think that different cultures, it's important to understand that it would not, in the long term, it's not a barrier for adopting these successful traits of other countries. And so yes.
Tell us something about the Budapest to Stanford you have set up with Dr. George Springer of Stanford University, was a victim of the notorious 1956 Hungarian Revolution. What is it all about, and what are you doing about it? Give us some information on that.
So Dr. Springer has had a fascinating life. He was born in the 30s and grew up in the 40s. He was a little boy in World War II, and so at the tail end of 44, the Nazis invaded Hungary and established a puppet led by rabid, intense anti-Semitism, or anti-Semitic policies were instituted, and so in Budapest there was Jews who were killed and they were sent to Auschwitz, both killed in Budapest just by mob shooters, but also sent to Auschwitz. And so he is going to live for that whole year, while bombs were going over and rubble was destroying everything. And so that was the impact fascism had on his life. And then the communists took over because his father was a class enemy because he had a small business. He employed 3 people, so he was a fat cat. He lived in a middle class apartment. He was barred from jump from university. He was brilliant. He's a Stanford professor. There was this university at Budapest University who says George Springer will not set foot in my university because he's so. And then he escaped. 56 Revolution provided him and many Hungarians an opportunity to escape the Iron Curtain. That's because it's the Hungarians when did they come? 56. That's because the revolution provided them a chance to escape. And so, then went to Australia originally, and then went to America, and he escaped from his life. And then he lived in his life turned much more for the better, and he's involved on scientific projects. And so, it's a very interesting study. Show the impact that history has on people of these major events on their lives, but also to demonstrate that while it's not perfect, the American, Australian, Western liberal freedom, that free society is better than these, and democracy is better than the communist and fascist authoritarian dictatorships. Because where did this brilliant man prosper? By far the most. He did not prosper under the fascist, the Arrow Cross in Hungary in 44, 45. He did not prosper under the communists. In fact, this brilliant man was brain drained. He went away. The moment he could go, he left. And when he prospered, it was in a free, democratic society, the United States of America, and briefly when he was in Australia. That's where he prospered. So a major aspect of it is, to make the case for that. This is even if there's a lot of feelings of, our system is not working. And you know what? There's still a lot of, don't abandon ship yet. This is definitely the best of the systems. And also, we just look at, it's just a fascinating story. So it's an incredible story of how just moments of exchange and meeting this person, that person, met with him, if this didn't happen, that didn't happen, he left, it was so radically different. And just had to go through a lot of challenges. And even once he was out of the challenges, he was just in so many high-level scientific projects, that he just had very, his life is fascinating. It's fascinating to learn and to listen to. But so there's just it's an interesting life. It's a very interesting story, his life. But there's also the message of, Western, just democracy, which India shares and shares. Democracy is the best system.
I mean, for a 17-year-old young man who has a European and Indian heritage, you are very well informed about India and the world. We now have 3.5 million Indians of Indian heritage, people of Indian origin living in the United States. Most of them are very well educated, 75% of them are graduates, and you have postgraduates. And the average Indian origin American makes $100,000 a year, whereas the Americans make only $50,000 and so on. Now, the young people, Americans who are born in America, Indian origin, European origin like you, how involved are they in the rest of the world? And how do they look at India? I don't know, your school must be people from different ethnic areas they come. Tell me something about your people in your age of Indian origin, and Chinese and Philippines and Koreans. I'm sure there must be that. Do they take interest in what is going on in their countries of their parents or ancestors? And what do they think about the way Donald Trump is trying to control immigration and putting all kinds of restrictions, making practically closing America's gates, whereas for the past 100 years plus, America was open to people aiming from anywhere on the planet to go there and so on. So tell me about your thoughts on that.
So first, this is not to dodge the question, but since there's so many different viewpoints that it's hard to go down. But I think what is the general consensus? There is no specific general consensus, but there are a couple of, I'd say, different ideas. Now, I would say if you just talk to people, what do you think about Trump? They would not like him. But this is not so much that, his HB1 some people do the HB1 visa policy here, but mostly it's because they are socially left-wing, culturally left-wing is growing up in the Bay Area, so they're Bay Area teenagers. So I mean, they're not to combat, but the opinions of Indian Americans in the Bay Area on topics such as homosexuality, for instance, is very different than the views of Indians in India. One is growing up in more traditional society, and one is growing up in one of the most liberal parts of America. In fact, the traditional Indian society would have more in common with the views of overall with the white and black Southerners who are Protestant Christians, Baptists, Episcopalians, etc. So a lot of the views on Donald Trump that are very negative come less from a sense of being of Indian necessarily, besides one category which I'll go to next, but a lot of it is just like a white liberal would be upset, they as Indian liberals would be upset. Now, being part of a racial minority, they feel that like Trump represents whites, and Republicans represent whites. This is their thing that I agree or disagree. This is just their opinion. And so the Indian heritage would play the same thing as the Filipino heritage or Nigerian heritage, since that we are the minorities and the racists are backing Trump. Some Indians are, they're very motivated into STEM subjects. They're very motivated. I'm going to do very well in mathematics and engineering, and that's how, and robotics, and also speech and debate. And the speech and debate kids are a little different on this thing, but besides speech and debate kids, these kids who really focus on STEM, really into it, they're almost insulated from this, not focusing so much on the Indian heritage, really focusing on Trump and politics. They're just like, yeah, Trump does this thing, people focus this thing. So you will find Indian and Chinese and Japanese, and people all familiar with this thing, but you'll find that they're almost like insulated, so their own life, this thing of, oh, I want to go to Yale, I want to go to Harvard, almost keeps them from that. But there are some Indian youths who are in touch with their Indian heritage, and then they would be upset, and they're upset about the HB1 visa. So there are people who are connected to India who are upset about this. There are actually a few who, and this may, there are a few who are in touch with the Indian heritage, not just the Indian heritage, but their Hindu heritage. And we'll see, this is more actually, not so much young people, this is more 50 and up. So feel that Trump and his supporters will have a good line interest on the Hindu-Muslim conflict as they see it, so there are some people who are very much in touch with their Indian roots, generally older generation, and who like Trump, a lot of them don't. So I'd say there's that bucket. There's the bucket of in touch and obsessed with HB1 visa. There's also the people who are just not interested at all. Speech and debate kids, because they spoke so much in policy, they're more interested in, they have to know these things, so that they tend to have an opinion, and usually negative. And largely it's because they're culturally left-wing Bay Area teenagers, just like everyone else of different racial and religious backgrounds, and so there's a huge diverse reasons for that. But so there are some risks, but I would say that's actually a pretty small minority.
Any questions?
I would like to know how does,
Just a minute. Here's the microphone.
I would like to know how would your company impact people around you?
Well, the idea of Global Thought Incorporated is that through the knowledge we obtain, through interviews, through research, through reading, to study reports, all kinds, that knowledge we create, not knowledge on like M&Ms, but knowledge on like economic policies, and historical trends, and cultures, and how they interact in different parts of the world, and all this research, and reading, and discussing, and learning, all of it's learning and gathering knowledge in various forms. With that knowledge, we can suggest debates impactful policies that we said this will work, and so that nations and the goal is that they will have impact. That it's not superfluous. So these policies that we recommend, that Global Thought Incorporated recommends, will have major impact in ensuring that nations of the world integrate, have majority minorities in the nation integrate successfully, have economic policies that ensure competition, and but also make sure that everyone in the society is given not only fair chance, but is able to meet all the basic indicators of well-being, education, water, food, over the head, health care, safety, all what is essential for a human being to be happy and society, so policies and things. So we are impacting. We're not only just hoping to impact. Everything we do is to ensure that we have an impact, that we suggest policies that will impact the world positively.
Manish.
Hi. Rahul, you've been exposed to India. You've made trips to India over the years with your family. You have understood India better than most people your age, I would say. In the neighborhood, at least, that you say. Just in your age group and amongst the Indian American community, how many of those kids you know would ever or want to have the aspiration to return to India, to work in India, whether be it at the academic level or to do internships, if not stay here forever. And what do they think of what India is today, the new India, or the new and rising India, as the government has allowed you?
So I would say that the number who is inspired to go back home of kids my age, it's the people born in the United States, not their parents who lived in India, is very, very, very low. In America, they are Indians. Abroad, they are Americans. So they will, the only way they feel Indian is in the sense that I'm Indian in this community. So, like, for example, if someone were to be, let's say, someone who's not of Indian origin were to make jokes about Indians, some wouldn't care, but some would say, haha, that's, in fact, some of them would laugh. But some of them would get very offended and say, you're not of my culture, you can't make those jokes. But there's no sense of, but that's because of the Indians of America. There's not really a sense that I, as an Indian, want to go back home and emigrate. In fact, and the truthful, they view India as, you know, a society they don't really like. They view it as backward. They view it as like they don't treat the woman right. They're not progressive on these issues. They see them and they like India in the sense that they want it, they wish it well. In fact, they have family members there. And so they'll maybe have a soft spot. They'll visit in tourism. But an idea of I'm going to go back to India and just ingrain myself. No, they want to visit India. They want to keep the traditions at home. They want to, you know, maintain their culture in America. But there's no. I would say that there's no sense of returning to the motherland and bringing what I've learned and incorporating. Because and remember, a lot of these people, they identify as Americans. America is very good, in fact, at like other societies, like I would say Brazil and Argentina are very good at this, at integration, and integrating and assimilation. So the number is very low, but I would say that the number of Indian Americans who would like to work with India, maybe go to India and establish partnerships and maybe foster good relations between India and America and serve as ambassadors. Now that's a much higher number. So they don't want to become part of India, 100% part of India, but they would love to go back to India, help India out, and serve as ambassadors of America, representing America to work with India and to help both America and India.
Well, a part of my question was that how many of your generation actually believe that the new and rising India is a potent India, is a power, is an economic power. I mean, look at the example, America's biggest giants. When you take Amazon, for example, Jeff Bezos puts more money and time, on the India operation because of the way it's multiplied, versus probably spending time in the US on the US business. So how many of your generation get that, want to get it, understand that, pay attention to that, believe in it, don't believe in it?
So there is not really a euphoria, unlike in India, which there's a great pride. As you know, historically, past 100 years, past centuries, we have been conquered and very badly, but now we are returning to glory days. I feel very strongly we have confidence in the future, hopeful for the future. There isn't really that sense of, especially amongst people my age in America, Indian Americans. A lot of them are just not knowledgeable of it, because a lot of them are just focused, I want to get strong grades, and a lot of them are, and I, with the bent towards humanities and social sciences, a lot of them are into STEM, and so they will, besides the speech and debate kids who are focused a lot on getting these, learning about different countries for the debates, not the ones doing domestic, but the ones doing international. But a lot of those tend to be like Europe and Brexit and European Union. Even then, they don't learn too much closer to India. I would say those who are knowledgeable of a euphoric rise in India is low, and I would say that, sadly, some of them, if they were told first time, they would find it a funny matter to make jokes about. They would rather make sarcastic jokes about it than they go, oh, that's cute. There'd be kind of almost attitude. So you don't really find too much of that amongst my generation. But I would say that you know, people at a young age versus when they grow older, people change and evolve with what they see. So I do think that maybe let's say 30 years from now, when India is a lot stronger and it's visible, like China was growing in the 1980s, but they weren't really seen as strong. They were growing, but they weren't strong yet. When India becomes visibly strong, and there's news stories every day about India is competing with the US in the market, just like China, when they're on the cover, economists all the time, when they're just like, you can't avoid India, no matter where you go, I think then you will see more of it. But because India hasn't completely penetrated to the level that China has in terms of global influence, there is not much of that amongst it. There's not a willingness to put the effort for them to do that. And I think the only way for it to occur for most Indian Americans is that if, let's say 30 years from now, India is essentially a superpower along with China and USA. And so then that will work much. But there is not really a sense, especially when kids who focus on STEM, on the affordable rise in India. In general, a lot of kids are not too knowledgeable of that. They may in fact know more about Britain because it's relevant. So as of now, no, but I think in 20 years you'll see change.
Munish, you yourself the father of a teenage son, and you lived in America for 20 years, and in California and all that, and you brought him here, put him in a school. Tell us about your son, what he thinks about India, and why did you bring him and put him in a school in India? And you keep commuting between California and India. What are your own experiences? And what does your son think about going to school in India?
You know, this is very interesting that you have a chat. You have a chat and going on the ground today, because this is really right up my alley, you know, and I enjoy it, despite having somebody in at home, just to hear you speak now. And you know, I went to America at a time where India didn't exist in American vocabulary. India didn't make an impression in the White House, India didn't make an impression in Congress, India was way down the list, and Pakistan and Afghanistan was way up on the agenda. And we were almost considered part of the red communist culture because we were friends with Russia. And when I transported myself as an Indian journalist to America, I mean, really shocked. So I got very annoyed, and I told them that, look, you either give me a regular press ID, or I'll make sure that one of your guys in India gets the same treatment as me. So the next day, MEA did something and it came back to America, and the State Department called me and said, well, come pick your ID. I mean, that's how bad it was. I migrated to America at a time, there were 180,000 Indians, and now there's almost 4 million. I have my older son, who grew up just like Rahul, or maybe worse off than Rahul, because he made probably in his lifetime 10 trips to India, and he's well settled there. He did his schooling, college, very good kid, just like he said, a STEM kid, if I may say so. And he finished his PhD while doing his MTech in biochemical engineering. He is now taking a sabbatical teaching before he joins Amgen at a young age of 28, you know. So looking at his experience and my own experience of America and my background, I never went to America to get educated. A lot of people go do degrees or supplemental degrees or further education. I went there with my education in India, strongly rooted in India. People would hang up the phone on me because of my Indian accent. They said, very strong, we don't understand a word you say. So they hung up on me. I couldn't talk to people. And then I realized that, look, what finally created my whatever little degree of success in America was I was educated in India. I did the journalism that I knew from India. I mean, of course I learned from America. There's a lot of good things I picked up. But there's nothing wrong with me being educated in India, and India has changed. And I have seen India change every bit in the last 33, 34 years that I've been away from India. I come once a month, you know, and maybe some people say you're mad, but you know, I love coming to India, watching India. So when I saw the change in India, I said I must make my younger son experience the same thing, or at least partially the same things that I went through. I wasn't sure. I moved him at 5 years of age after he finished preschool. But I think the preschool foundation that I got for my son in LA, I haven't found a preschool like that in India. But leave that aside. In India, we don't lay emphasis on preschool because, you know, parents love keeping the kids close to their chest and heart, and grandparents and everything. We have no choice in America. You've got to put the kid in preschool. But other than that, my son's experience, and he's now 15, so he's been here 10 years, of Indian education, Indian environment, Indian system, has been exemplary. He has no problems. Rather, he feels enriched, and he goes back every couple of years and spends time with his preschool friends who have now grown up. And they almost look up to him and say, oh my God, wow, you got the best of both worlds in a way. You know, and I think his high school, he's going to finish high school before he decides what he wants to do. But that high school education in India is very good. It gives you a great foundation. Now, one of the reasons, and you alluded to that, Rahul, is, you know, I would say still 70% of American kids going to high school may or may not even know what is India, where is India's stature in the world today. You know, India is so many, you know, the fifth largest economic power. India is a strategic partner of the United States. They don't even know that. So that, to me, is a little bit something I didn't want for my son, for my second son. So I think I made the right choice. But some of the things that Rahul has alluded to are good, important, great reckoners. My son decided to do Model United Nations with the school here. He's excelled in it. So I think that bent towards humanities, international relations, understanding countries, delving in history, understanding the modern world has really helped him. And he's done very well at that. Rather, you know, he went to China in August for an international NUN competition, which is a very big one. And individually, he won the competition. But in terms of teams, the US team won the competition. And his school came second. But the kids were teasing him, saying that, you know, we don't worry about it. We have no problems. You won it. You're American. You know? But that sense, so I think overall, I'm a little disappointed, if you ask me honestly, with the American school system. They make you what they think they know and they feel they should make you. They really don't give you a holistic global view, which I think in today's world is very important for children. Just as every parent says, I want my kid, besides being good at everything else he or she does, to be also street smart. You know, they don't have that. And so I think that's where it's different. But I have no problems. I mean, my son really enjoys going to school here. He enjoys being with family. He loves going to the United States. He still calls it his country, equally so. But I think this base in India is going to give him a great grounding for the future.
That complements of what I am trying to emphasize is that I would like to go and talk about your thoughts on how the American education system is fairly compared to the Indian education system. Now, that is simply put an example of India, one country in the world, is doing something better than America. So what can American education policy leaders learn to India? And so Global Thought in Court, that is exactly the kind of thought process, the thinking, what we are looking for impact. And it's like, and then we would research fully into what are the policies the Indian education policymakers are doing, and what are the American education policy makers are doing differently. And so what can these Indian policymakers teach the American policymakers? And I'd also like to make the point that when you suggested, like, when you're talking about, discuss how 70% in American students may not know, most of them will know where India is, they'll know this thing that would be young, but actually, when you're just saying 70% would not know about the India-US strategic alliance, I put that number somewhere in 90-something percent. It's incredibly high, and I would say amongst the Indian American students, they would know it's important, and they don't, but they're probably in the 50s. And most of those students, not because they really care, but because their grandparents cannot wait to tell them how their home country is getting strong, and they're kind of tired of hearing it from Nanaji and Naniji and Dadaji and Dadiji. So that, which is actually that quickly I think you were alluding to this, is how India provides a much more global knowledge approach than America. Remember, India is a land of complete, is where all these cultures have come together and have largely preserved themselves. While America is a place where, with its economic success, has attracted people from across the world. It is, even though a lot of its policymakers in the past 100 years have been a lot more internationally hawkish, it is a very isolationist, not in some ways aloof, not in a bad way, country at heart. I mean, it's a nation with huge land borders. It is the strongest nation in the Americas. No Latin American society can ever compete with it in military economy. And anyways, there's no threat that its neighbors to the south can invade. And Canada is so small population, so it's not a threat either. And USA did not want to, beginning from George Washington, he said, let's not enter any alliances because we don't want to be involved in foreign wars and get hurt. So because of cultural reasons, in the found of India and USA, they have very different attitudes. And what happens is that maybe in USA it was benefiting from that fact a lot because it could protect itself and grow while Europe was fighting and destroying itself. USA emerged from the two world wars and it entered them, but it wasn't bombarded with its geographic position and political decision. It emerged victorious in the struggles in the West. But now, as Tom Friedman says, the earth is flat. The Indian, more global Indian mindset is, I think, may seem more beneficial than what America is doing, what the American mindset right now. So that's again saying that, like, we'll see if when India grows and America is not, the difference between America and India is not quite as big. America goes like, hey, what happens here? And they'll adopt this thing. So that's really the impact of Global Thought Incorporated is looking at these, studying and analyzing these differences and the successes and the failures, and bringing those policies, extracting them, and having those learn. The impact is very much what you have done with your discussion of look at here's the benefits I think my son has had, and so it's all about knowledge of the successes and failures being implemented. So I really enjoyed what you're hearing. It was the part of sharing about your son's successes. Congratulations to him on getting first place in any individual. And the second reason is that it really shows what is our message, what is the impact we are looking for. So I was very happy to hear what you were saying.
Well, thank you, friends. As I said, he is the youngest person to speak at the FCC. And when I heard about his biodata and all that, I said, okay, let him come and expose into our kind of audience. And the other person was young, was Manushi Chiller. She was, I think, in her early 20s. And we got her here immediately after she won the Miss World title. Thank you very much, and all the best for your efforts. And because you have come here, we are very happy to give you a gift, a mug specially designed to celebrate our 60th anniversary. And
Thank you.
all the best. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
He'll be around for some time, and feel free to interact with him, or a cup of tea and pakoras or whatever.